Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to DreamWorks Switch to Life. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the first of the How to Train Your Dragon short films, that of course being Legend of the BoneKnapper Dragon. And I gotta say, out of all the short films, this is my least favorite. I enjoyed watching it, but at the same time, it didn't really offer anything for the franchise. Sure, you do get to learn a bit about Gobber's backstory, not to mention some facts about the BoneKnapper, but really, aside from that, this short film doesn't have anything to offer the overall franchise, which is really disappointing, actually. Still, there were some aspects I enjoyed, like the animation quality and the voice acting, especially because they kept those from the film, not to mention the music. They didn't really introduce any new music, but the main How to Train Your Dragon music is still so good and iconic that it really doesn't matter. So while I do recommend that you go and watch this short film, because it doesn't actually offer anything for the franchise, I can't recommend that if you have to spend money to do it, don't. Just don't bother spending money to watch this one short film. Maybe if you can find it bundled with a few of the other short films, that makes sense, but for Legend of the BoneKnapper Dragon, don't bother spending money. So now we're about to dive into this story, which is essentially Gobber is being hunted by a mythical made-up dragon that is called the BoneKnapper, and Hiccup, feeling sorry for him, decides to tag alongside the rest of the dragon riders, but unfortunately they end up getting shipwrecked, at which point Gobber, in his delusional mindset, sets a trap for the BoneKnapper, and thus we learn that the BoneKnapper actually does exist, and eventually the team finds a way to defeat him by learning about Gobber's backstory, which involves why the BoneKnapper is after him. Turns out that as a kid, Gobber actually found a piece of treasure frozen in an ice glacier, and he grabbed that treasure right as the BoneKnapper was about to grab it, but unfortunately, he kept it all these years, and now the BoneKnapper is back for revenge, and Gobber actually gives up that piece of treasure, which was just a stunning belt buckle, apparently.
It's kept my pants up for years.
It is stunning.
But it turns out to actually be a bone that the BoneKnapper was missing to create a perfect coat of armor. Anyway, after Gobber gives the BoneKnapper back his bone, he essentially has trained the dragon, and they use the dragon to get back home to Berk to prove to everybody that the BoneKnapper actually does exist. And yeah, that's pretty much the short film. Granted, there was a lot of humor, and we, of course, learn a bit of more backstory behind Gobber's antics with the BoneKnapper, but unfortunately, I'm pretty sure some of those antics were made up. Especially Gobber taking on hundreds of hammerhead sharks, a hammerhead whale, a hammerhead yak, over an active volcano, and not to mention, he got into contact with Thor, the god of thunder? I mean, yeah, there's no way that happened. Granted, maybe he did run in with the BoneKnapper and some inexplicable stuff happened and this was the best he could come up with, but still. And then, of course, there's one other thing that I want to mention. The BoneKnapper never makes an appearance in any of the other How to Train Your Dragon media. I mean, Gobber literally trained this dragon at the end of the short film, but he never shows up again. I get that not all dragons are kept, but still. And of course, the whole thing that I really hate about this short film is that even though it's set in How to Train Your Dragon, there isn't any dragons in this short film aside from the BoneKnappers. I mean, yes, at the beginning of the short film, we do see dragons trying to help put out the fire, but when the dragon riders go on the adventure to track down a killer BoneKnapper, they don't bring their dragons. You would think that having dragons would be important, especially when it comes to self-defense against a dragon that is set out to kill you, but no, there's no dragons here. But I get why they did that. It's cheaper to animate if they don't include the dragons, and not to mention the fact that if they did have dragons, they would have been able to get off the island after getting shipwrecked. But yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed watching this short film, but at the same time, it's it's really the worst thing to happen in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. It doesn't really offer anything, and that's really unfortunate. But anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this short film? Make sure to leave your comment down below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date on all things DreamWorks, including when I get around to reviewing the other How to Train Your Dragon shorts. But with that in mind, I hope you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.
Legend says this dragon's roar is so fierce, it can melt the flesh right off your bones.
Not so, Fishlegs. The BoneKnapper has no roar at all. That's why he's terrifying. He's a silent killer.
Wait, so if we don't hear anything, we're dead?
I don't hear anything.
Good one, Phil.